Hi, I'm Tamara Strohauer, and I'm the Indigenous Social Work Alliance Faculty Advisor and the Serve Indigenous Social Workers for Change Project Coordinator at San Diego State. And I'm very excited to be with these powerful women today who I will introduce to you. We are going to be speaking with Ms. Whitney Liera, who was one of the founders of the Indigenous Social Work Alliance. She was the president of ISWA for 2 years during her master's program and graduated last year. Whitney is Cahuilla and is the victim advocate with the Cahuilla Consortium with Cahuilla Band of Indians. So she went back to work with her tribe and is going to share with you about the work that she does. Ms. Shireen Primo is Shoshone Paiute. She graduated from our advanced standing program in 2020, was a vice president of ISWA, our first year, her year in grad school. And Shireen is the wellness program manager for youth, family, and elders at San Diego American Indian Health Center. And Monet Hefner is our Choctaw graduate who graduated from the 2-year program with Whitney in 2021. And she works for the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians at the Family Safety Program and is a member of the Integrated Child Welfare Team. So I am just so excited to be with you all today. Thank you for coming together to pre-record this panel for our attendees for our Decolonizing Social Work Empowerment series. This is our second year doing such conferences. So Whitney actually also put together a student success fee last year for our first round of Decolonizing Social Work webinar series. And I just thank you all so much for being with us today. And I'm gonna let y'all take it away. Whitney, would you like to introduce yourself?
So hi everyone. My name is Whitney Liera. I'm a member of the Cahuilla Band of Indians, and I've been graduated May 2021, so it's been almost a year. And I've really gotten really fortunate to be able to work for my own tribe as a victim advocate. And during my time here, I'm also working to get my license. So I'm fortunate enough to that our program, the Cahuilla Consortium, has the capacity to be able to help me do that.
Hagani mump na nani haunt Shireen Primo na dibia dokabadi night na biabat San Diego, California, Kumi Islands na no one nama dosawi wayaput. So hello, greetings, beautiful relatives. My name is Shireen Primo. I represent the Shoshone Paiute tribal nation of Duck Valley, Nevada. I am also a descendant of the White Knife Band of Western Shoshone people. I reside in San Diego, California on Kumi Islands. Very, very grateful. I graduated in May 2020 from the Advanced Standing Program at San Diego State University. I am currently working at San Diego American Indian Health Center as the Wellness Program Manager for Youth, Family, and Elders. Very grateful to be here. Very honored to be on this panel with some very powerful Wayaput, as well as our social work mentor and beautiful sister, Tamara Strohauer. Thank you very much for all of your guidance and love and uplifting and empowerment on our college walk. We're very grateful for you. And I'm just grateful to be on this panel once again with these powerful Wayaput. Us.
Hey everyone, I'm Monet. I was in grad school with Whitney, graduated in May 2021, part of the 2-year program. I got to intern with the Paula Band of Mission Indians, and I am now in North Carolina. I work with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians at the Family Safety Program, like Tamara mentioned, and I've been there for about a year now. I love it there, and it's very progressive in the way they deal with the child welfare on the boundary. We don't call it a reservation because the Cherokees have actually owned their land now. So on the boundary, they're very progressive in what they're doing with the families. Very honored to be here. Very thankful to be here and just to give you guys all this information.
Thank you all so much. We're just so honored. So it would be wonderful if each of you can share about your work, kind of what your process was of going from getting your, coming to get your master's, going through school, and going into work in community. So our Serve Indigenous Social Work project is called Serve because it's about bringing in Native students who will then go out and serve their communities. And each of you are uniquely doing very different things within the concepts that you learned within your Indigenous wisdom that you carry. And just really excited. I'm going to just turn it over to you all so you all can share and discuss, and looking forward to hearing all about the work that you're doing.
I'll share a little bit about my journey just getting into the program at San Diego State. So I had a pretty rough undergrad experience. School was hard for me. I grew up on the reservation. I was fortunate enough to be able to get into an undergrad program right after high school. And just the culture shock of that, moving to San Diego, being in a big school. I went to UC San Diego. It was a lot. Being away from my family, being away from just everything that I'm used to. So it took me quite a while just to finish my undergrad program. I had gone through a few years, put that on pause, started working in the community as a prevention educator, and then slowly started to get back into school and probably grow up a little bit more. And finally graduate. As I was working towards graduation, I knew that I wanted to get into my master's program. And I had talked to Tamara. I've known Tamara for a few years, and I've seen her and been talking to her about social work and getting into the program. And it finally got to a point where I think it was me and another colleague, Maya, we met with her, and she said, well, if you want to go to San Diego State, you need to take the GRE next week. And I'm like, okay. So that's what ended up happening. And fortunately, it worked out. I think everything, it was one of those things I knew I wanted to do, but I'm just almost afraid to just make that leap into there. So that was kind of the push I needed to do it. And I had applied to another program and I got waitlisted for that. And then I got into San Diego State, and I just knew that was what I wanted. I wanted to go to San Diego State. I wanted to stay local. Family and my tribe, they're very important to me. So I knew I needed to stay close by. And then getting into the program was fortunate in my life. I quit my job, went into the full-time program, and it was an experience. I'm so fortunate that I got the opportunity to meet Monet and Shireen and other Native students there, because I don't think I would have been able to do as well and as I wanted to without knowing that there were at least other people in the classroom who could relate. And I think that, I haven't always had that experience in school. My first year I interned at the Julian school districts. My heart is with smaller school districts, since I went to a smaller school district, and communities that have very little resources or have a hard time accessing resources because of their location. I not only got to work with Native students there, but also just the community, and, love the experience. It was a big learning process for me, but I think I did learn a lot more about myself just through that experience. And I know Monet had been working in schools for years. So it was always nice just to be able to hear her experience doing that and doing school social work. The second year we interned together at Paula, which I don't think Monet realizes how much I appreciate just having her there, because it was like, I felt like she had my back and I tried to have hers with everything, like just with like, okay, shoot, we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. We'll supervise this family together, because it was kind of one of those experiences where it's just like, okay, we're in our second year. You're going to be right out front doing the work. And I appreciated that because it helped me grow and helped me learn. But it was also just like, what are we doing sometimes? But I was, again, fortunate to be able to work in the community and have Tamara work with the program to help get that set up and to work with the tribe. Yeah, until we graduated this last year. And then I ended up, after graduation, working for another organization. And then this opportunity opened up within my own tribe to work with our victim services program. And it was just too, like, I was in a place in my life where I'm like, this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to work for my own tribe. And I'm going to take this opportunity. I was still living in San Diego, and I was commuting for months for like over an hour just to be able to get to work. But I'm like, this is what I worked for my whole life, and it's actually happening. So fortunately, I live closer now. I'm only like 3 minutes away from work now. So that's just a little bit of my experience through education and through the MSW program and where I'm at now. Now I'm working as a victim advocate for my tribe, and we service victims of crime, mostly domestic violence, sexual assault. And I'm also working towards my licensure here. And I'm going to be going on leave in a few weeks here, but when I come back, I'm hoping to just be fully engaged in that therapy role here at our program.
That was very beautiful, Whitney. So once again, my name is Shireen Primo, representing the Noa Nama Nation, Shoshone Paiute Nation of Dokabadi Night, Duck Valley, Nevada. So my story is how I ended up at SDSU. I always like to tell my story and say that my social work career started when I was 4 years old. And I say that because I come from a community that is highly impacted by historical trauma, in which transferred into multi-generational trauma. So as a young child, I witnessed a lot of things that a child shouldn't have went through. My community was impacted by community violence, family violence, lateral oppression, alcohol and drug addiction, child abuse and neglect. These are some of the things that my community struggles with and still struggles with today. So my main goal was to come out and, get higher education. And after that, return home and bring it back to my people. That was the whole purpose of my college career. And it took a long time. So I really want to encourage our youth to strive for higher education, because believe it or not, we do need that piece of paper. And we do have to work just as hard as everybody else. So my upbringing, once again, because of historical trauma, I went through things. I am a survivor. I went through some things. And in the long run, I had to face the fork in the road. At the age of 14 years old, I had to face my fork in the road, which was, are you going to choose your culture, your language, and ceremonies, or are you going to choose this other path to cope with your trauma, which was alcohol and drug addiction? So it was a tug of war between my traditional beliefs, customs, and culture, and then self-numbing with alcohol and drugs. And it was a long, long path, a long tug of war in life, just trying to find myself and heal. And one of the ways that I found my healing was to go back to the old ways of our people through ceremony, culture, heritage, language. And I'm very grateful that my Appa, my father, when I did return home at the age of 14, was able to reconnect me back with ceremony. So we utilized ceremony through the Uda Gatni, which is the hot house, sweat lodge ceremony, Daga Nuka, Sundance ceremony, Native American church, talking circles, powwow. That was our way of healing. But during that time, at such a young age, I couldn't see because the pain was so deep. And so I did take the other path. But at the same time, I had family praying for me at ceremony. They never stopped praying for me. And I really believe that they saved my life, because some of the situations that I had been through, I should have been gone, but I'm still here. So I really want to thank my family for praying for me and taking care of me in that way. My uncle as well. I want to, bring up his name because he was the one that got my father reconnected back into Sundance. And my father's been dancing for over 20 years and my uncle 40 plus years. So I'm grateful that they safeguarded me in that way. So my college career started in 2012. I started at Cuyamaca College going for my associate's degree in social work. And my family landed in Southern California in 1996. They were working here. So I've kind of been back and forth from here to Nevada for a couple of years now. But I started at Cuyamaca College. I went in for my associate's degree in social work. And around that time, my path, my Wellbrighty path as a Waipa in Wellbrighty, a woman in Wellbrighty, had started. And as soon as I reconnected fully back to culture and ceremony, my life changed for the better in a really good way. And I was on fire. So I went through the associate's program at Cuyamaca College. I received my associate's degree in social work in 2015, walked in 2016. And then I had an incident happen well in my walk in Wellbrighty as well in 2016. As Native American women, 82% of our Native American women and girls have experienced a violent incident. 82% of Native American women and girls have been through a violent incident in their lives. 82%. 50% of Native American women and girls have been sexually assaulted before the age of 12. And so I want to bring that up because in 2016, I did have an incident happen to me where I was a survivor of a violent crime, and it was very life-changing, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But that was just my life's path that I had to walk through and go through. And so during that time, I didn't know if I should go back to school or just quit. But, all my supporters and all my ancestors were behind me and telling me, you can do this. And I knew that if I didn't return back to school, that I would never go back. So I picked myself up as a Zuni Waipa, a strong woman, and I went back to school. And it was a hard time in my life. But I did receive good news. I received news that I got into I was accepted into San Diego State for the Bachelor's of Social Work program. Very grateful. And when I received that news, it really picked up my spirit, and I was very grateful. And so it encouraged me. And I just want to tell all of our youth, no matter what you go through in life, don't give up, because we do have to go through hardship. But once we walk through that hardship, there's a beautiful blessing waiting for us. Some of us have to go through harder lessons in life, but trust me, there's a beautiful blessing waiting. So at SDSU, I was scared. I was nervous as a Native American woman, an older Native American woman, really fresh in my Wellbrighty, maybe about 3-4 years in. And just, not the youngest Native woman, and nervous, scared. And I went a few months in my program not knowing what was going to happen. And halfway through, I met the beautiful Tamara Strohauer. And wow, let me tell you, this woman is amazing. One of the biggest hearts that I've ever met in anybody. And she came along and she mentored me. And believe me, I still came in with a lot of baggage on my healing journey. And Tamara was there with me through a lot of things that I had to walk through, a lot of things from my past that I had to close. And there were times where I was scared. I didn't know if I was going to make the program. And I'd go into Tamara's little office, her cute little office, and I'd cry and we'd laugh. And there were some situations where I had to face my past, and it scared me. And Tamara encouraged me. She said, you have to take care of these things if you want to move forward and apply for the Title IV program. And, you have to take care of these things. And I was like, I'm scared though. And she's like, you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. And so I just want to thank you, Tamara, because I never really had that encouragement to face my past and take care of the wreckage of my past. And you really did encourage me. And although I had fear-based thinking, I stepped up and I took care of what I had to take care of. So thank you for that. I honor you for that. So she was with us. She was with me through my whole entire bachelor's program, which was amazing. She was always there advocating for me and all the other women and supporting us. And then 2019, I graduated with my bachelor's in social work from San Diego State, as well as my American Indian Studies degree. And that was amazing as well. Graduation was amazing, beautiful. And then even better news, I was accepted into the MSW Advanced Standing Program. So I tell you, although we face barriers, just keep your eye on your vision and your dream and your goal, and just never give up, because there's always going to be turbulence. There's always going to be ups and downs, but you just have to keep moving forward. So after graduation, and mind you, we had Tamra and the beautiful Olivia sign me up for this amazing award, the Zahn Spirit of Innovation Award, and they picked me. More important than that, though, at the graduation ceremony, Peter Zahn was able to get up on stage and just explain the significant issues that we face as Native American people daily. And that was the highlight of night graduation ceremony, to be on stage and just be recognized as Native people, the 575 plus federally and unfederally recognized nations, and all the issues that we face every day in Indian country. So that was my highlight, to have Native American people acknowledged. And we do like to honor our past, and we don't talk about our past to hurt anybody, but to acknowledge everything that we went through and that we're still going through today. So that was just beautiful. And then I had a 1 week break and I went right into the advanced standing program. Woo, one of the toughest programs ever. Once again, if it wasn't for these beautiful women here, as well as Tamra and everybody's support, it was rough. It was hard. There were times where I didn't think I was going to make it. But prayer, ceremony, culture, and just, staying strong, I made it through the program. Graduated with my MSW in 2020, one of the proudest moments of my life, and all the barriers that I had to walk through to make it to this point. And then after, I went in with the County of San Diego, emergency response, learned a lot of cool things, learned a lot of new techniques. That was amazing as well. And currently, I am the Wellness Program Manager for Youth, Family, and Elders here at San Diego American Indian Health Center. Very grateful to be here. I started coming to this clinic as a community member in 2010, so it's pretty cool that I'm working here. Really up for the challenge to revitalize the Good Medicine Youth Program, and I'm grateful for this organization as they've allowed the wellness team to indigenize the program for our youth. It's been amazing. And so what I'm doing, we're intertribal nations. We're intertribal, although we do pay homage to the people of this land, the Kumeyaay Nation, of course, but we are intertribal. So there's a lot of different tribal nations, a lot of different beliefs. And what I do is I just keep it simple. My elders taught me, what my Hutsi taught me about culture, my family. And so we're not reinventing the wheel. For instance, the positive Indian parenting curriculum that we utilize for our parents. They talk about going back to the old ways of our people. And you hear people say, oh, the old ways are dead. We're never going to go back. Well, no, they're still here. That's what safeguarded us all the way to 2022 is this medicine. So the positive Indian parenting curriculum is just one of the amazing programs that we have under the Good Medicine Youth Program. And once again, going back to the old ways of our people, culture, traditions, such as lessons of the cradle board, traditional behavior management, the lessons of nature. So just utilizing what we've been doing since the beginning of time, honoring our ceremonies, our sacred herbs, our language, our beliefs. And then we also have the Generation Red Road Youth Curriculum. I'm very, very, very proud of this talking circle. Our program runs 6 different talking circles a month. We have the Generation Red Road Youth Curriculum, which is one of the very rare evidence-based practices in Indian country. Although we honor that, we also want to honor culture above all, but it is one of the rare curriculums in Indian country that's evidence-based. We have Dancing for Healing Circle. And the idea behind the Dancing for Healing was to go back to expedition style dancing versus competition, to teach our youth that we're dancing for healing. We dance for those that are mourning. We dance for those that can't dance. We dance for those that are hurting. We dance to bring happiness to others. We dance for our ancestors in the spirit world. It's healing. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to just utilize the teachings that I was taught to teach the youth. And we have to safeguard our youth, as they have the highest rates of suicide in Indian country. They have the highest rates of substance use disorders to cope with trauma. We have the highest rates of high school dropout. The list goes on. Right now with our program, we're doing our best to, with each one of our circles, we like to start with cultural education and a little psychoeducation. But we're sitting with our youth, for instance, with the talking circle, we're sitting with them, our youth in ceremony, we're doing our best to teach the youth the protocol and etiquette of ceremony and how we hold ourselves. So it's just beautiful. And my team is intertribal, so we have a lot of different beliefs. But yeah, I'm grateful for where I am right now. I'm grateful that I'm able to really just utilize the Indian way and all the work that I'm doing for the youth, right? For the youth. Once again, I know I didn't cover everything, but I'm grateful for where I am today in life. And I do all this work with my heart for the people. Once again, just to heal from that historical trauma and that intergenerational trauma and not reinvent the wheel, but bring healing through our Indigenous teachings and customs. And if anybody ever has any questions, just give me a call, shoot me an email. I would be more than happy to explain the program. But once again, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate being on this panel. I appreciate all of you white here. So thank you. Ash.
All right. Hey, everyone. Again, my name is Monet. I'm a Choctaw descendant. I also started my college career later. I was 23, so I started college in 2013 at Miracosta Community College in Oceanside. I graduated in 2016 with an associate's in criminal justice. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I never thought I would go to college, really. I was horrible in high school. I barely made it out. So I did. I was able to graduate. And then I decided to, apply to San Diego just to see if I would get in. And I got in for a bachelor's. But I also transferred as a criminal justice major there as well. But when I was going to my classes, it didn't feel right. I just didn't feel like this was what I wanted to really do in the long term. And I had a student, I don't remember her name, but I took a sociology class, I think, and her major was social work. And I got to talking with her and kind of just discovered like the social work field. Never really thought about it, even though I had social workers in my life a couple times when I was a child, never really considered being one. But after going and talking to, I think it was Amalia, who was the undergraduate advisor at the time, I changed my major. So I got my BSW in 2019. I was in my undergrad with Shireen, actually. And then she left me. But then I met Whitney. So it's all good. So I started my master's program with Whitney in 2019. During my first internship was through schools, and so was my undergrad internship. They had always been schools. I interned with basically all the elementary all the way through high school. My first few were the elementary and middle schools. I was a little worried about working with middle schoolers because, little kids, you think, that's going to be easy. And you get to just teach them like how to regulate their emotions and talk about things like that. But I fell in love with my high schoolers and my middle schoolers because they come to you with like real problems and they really open up to you in a way that I don't think they've ever opened up to anyone. And I took advantage of my position in the middle schools and high schools. I started clubs. I started a GSA club at one of the middle schools. I started a meditation morning at the high school. And I started a Native American students club at the high school as well. Unfortunately, that was when COVID started. So we were in the process of getting that all started. And I had I think there was 12 Native students at the high school that I was trying to get them all involved with. And then COVID hit. So, but I have tried to, make sure I've been in contact with that high school. And eventually when I come back to California, I do plan to make sure the schools are involving the Native students, just like we do in college. It's unfortunate that we didn't have this when we first started SDSU. So this was all new. And I'm hoping, we can start this in middle school and definitely in high school. I know as, Native students, we need a safe space. We need our people. And for, any of you guys worrying about college or feeling like you were going to be alone or isolated, just find your people. You will find your people. Tamara will help you find your people. So you won't go through this alone. It will be scary. It was definitely scary. Like the other two had mentioned, it was very scary for all of us. So you're not alone. You're not the only one who's been scared. This going to college, and like Shireen said, it is something you need if you really want to make this difference in a community that means so much to you. For me, I am a Choctaw descendant, but never really knew, my culture, very much cut off of everything because of the generational trauma and everything that had occurred throughout my whole father's side of his family. So for me, it's been a discovery, a constant discovery. And right now I'm working with a Cherokee. My partner lives in Tennessee. She's going to school out here. So I had to move myself out here. And I was lucky enough to be so close to the Cherokee boundary, the Eastern Band of Cherokees. So I love working there. I have been able to even advocate more. The program itself is amazing, but I've been able to really talk more about some things because I think being from California and having the education I have, it's a little different than the experiences and education people have out here. So being able to share knowledge that I've had from school and from my own experiences of the people that I've met in California, I think has opened up some minds about other programs that we can get started. I know we're trying to do a mentorship with our young males right now, which I will not be a part of, but I'm just trying to get it started. So it's prevention, it's more prevention. There is a lot of domestic violence, we see, and we want to make sure our young male youth especially are getting healthy, masculine role models in their lives. So that's something that me and one of my other coworkers have talked about. And just being able to advocate for our families, being able to make sure if someone, because not everyone who works at the family safety program is Native. So sometimes, there's some things that happen that shouldn't have happened. So luckily, I'm like that final person who gets a case. So if that case gets handed to me and I see where this child's at, and I'm like, this child shouldn't be here because this child should probably be with family member first. So, we get to do a whole family tree, reach out to all the families on the entire family tree, whether it's their fourth cousins. So putting in all that work, making sure if there is a family member available, being able to do that. If not, reaching out to community members like on the boundary. So just being able to have that kind of power to make sure that our kids aren't getting sent off to some random homes like they used to in the past, being able to do that, it's meant a lot. And I know it means so much to the families that I work with. And even though this work, if you decide to go into the child welfare field, it can be a lot. It can be very, very stressful. It can be very emotional, very hard. You go home a lot of the times thinking about where your kids are at, or even where your parents at. I think about some of my parents all the time. We want what's best for the whole family. So it can be very, very hard, but it can also be very rewarding. Even if, some of the kids can't go back to mom and dad for certain reasons, knowing that, okay, well, they're going to be with their aunt. Like I know they're going to be with their aunt, or they're going to be with their grandma or grandpa, knowing that you've set up a family safety plan for the future, for us not to come back into their lives, like a safety net, and having a plan for mom and dad if they do get to a place where they can be back, like more into their lives. So it's worth it. And I encourage you guys, if you don't really know how you're going to feel about, child welfare, it's just different. I think it's very different when you actually get to work in a Native community. To me, it's much more rewarding. I don't know if I would enjoy it for the county, but I do enjoy working with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. So, but yeah, that's me.
Everybody knows my story pretty much. I'm pretty transparent with it. And the reason why I do that is because that's how I heal. That's how Native Americans been healing, is oral tradition. We speak our story to heal. That's what we do. We talk, we communicate. And so I'm very open about my story, and I am a survivor of abuse. And that was my whole motivation to go into social work, to protect the youth the way that I wasn't protected when I was younger. Like I say, my social work career started at 4. I was the little mother, the little protector to my little siblings. It was a lot on my little shoulders, but everything that I walked through, I wouldn't change it. That was the way that they wanted it to be. I had to go through what I went through. And so my motivation to become a social worker was to bring healing for the people, for the youth, for the families, for our communities, to use my story to help others. That's the whole reason. It has nothing to do with me. The Creator will speak through me to share my story to help others. It's bigger than all of us. The work that we're doing, it's bigger than us. We're doing this for a reason, to help the people. So that's my motivation. And I encourage anyone to get into the helping field. You just have to have heart. Have heart. And it is a lot. Monet did mention that it's a lot. And sometimes you do take your work home. You worry, it makes you sad, it makes you cry, but it just gives you more motivation to do more work to help the people. So I'm grateful. Once again, I'm grateful. I'm honored to be here. And I just want to leave with this little reading that came to me when I was at the water. It just came to me. And so I wrote it down as fast as I could. So I'm going to leave you all with that. Oos. Good medicine represents using our culture and traditions in all 4 directions of our lives for healthy youth, families, elders, and communities. Honoring our ways is good medicine. Practicing our ways is good medicine. Singing our songs is good medicine. Dancing for healing is good medicine. Honoring the earth is good medicine. Protecting our sisters is good medicine. Protecting our brothers is good medicine. Speaking your Indigenous language is good medicine. Noa Dekwa. Teaching our youth the Indian way is good medicine. Honoring our future leaders in Indian country is good medicine. We believe that our families and communities can heal, and the time is now. Once again, thank you. I'm very honored to be here. Very grateful to be part of this panel with all of these Zuni Waipa.
Shireen pretty much said it all. That is the reason why we do what we do. It's to heal our communities. It's to advocate for the families and for our community. Honestly, getting that diploma gives you power to be able to do that. And that I feel like is the reason why, like I said in the beginning, I never thought I would go to college, but the Creator, I guess, thought it would be a good idea. So here I am with a master's now. And you can be there too. And we all hope you will be, because we need more of you in the communities to help families, to help your people. And that's why we do what we do. Even though I might have 30 really, really hard days, having a conversation with a mom or a grandma or a kid, it might be just a thank you so much for everything you did for us. it makes it all worth it. So that's why I do what I do.
I've just gone through my life, and I know, I've struggled particularly with my own mental health, and I've seen my family struggle with things, and I've always wanted to alleviate any pain that they felt, whether that be physical, mental, spiritual, anything. And I'm really, really grateful that I was taught to be involved, not necessarily told to, but taught through my family being involved in our tribe and helping one another. So I think that, my grandma always told me that, if you're going to do something, you got to do it. You got to do it right. You got to do it in a good way. And, I think I've really taken that to heart. And, as my boss would say, we want to treat, our clients and our community like, we want to be a good relative. And I'm really fortunate because, like, when I think about that statement, I'm like, I think of, well, yeah, my family who are so good to each other, but I know that not all families are like that. And it makes me just so grateful to have my family. And I think they're my biggest motivator. Because just being able to do this work, this is just how I know how to be. And I'm lucky. And, not all days are easy. It's especially to try to be compassionate. I'm going to be honest, like some days it's just like, you get frustrated like anybody else. But I think, hopefully at the core of everything I do, there's what I was taught, being a member of my tribe, being a member of my family. So that keeps me going. Even just the past few months, knowing, what kind of a world and what kind of a family I'm bringing my daughter into, I think that is further motivation for me just to continue to do what I do. And, just to keep going and try to improve myself so that I can better, be a family member, to be a mom, and to be an advocate here, and a tribal member, a community member. I think that I don't really want that to stop, because I think, as much as I know I've grown, and as much as I have done, I know there's still more I can do and more that I want to do, to be able to better help. So I think that answered the question. I think, like I said, like just the past few months for me have just been, a lot of growth and a lot of learning, a lot of heartbreak and healing. And I think that I'm so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to talk to all of you all again, because I think it was so nice just to hear what you all are doing, and being able to work in the community. And I think that it's going to continue to motivate me, just knowing that you two are both out there, and Tamara, doing such great work. So I appreciate it. So thank you.
Wow. I'm so proud of the three of you, and so honored to have gotten to share in your journey and continue to share in your journeys and watch you out in the world and the work that you're doing and your continued resilience and your continued connection. And I just honor you so tremendously as, part of an education system, being able to be family together with you all. And that's what, we wanted to bring you all here today to share your experiences and to know that, something that you created, this Indigenous Social Work Alliance, will live on and will provide a place for people to gather to share their glory, their difficulties, their struggles, and to remain connected on into the rest of your lives. And, I just love, Whitney, what you said about being a good relative. I think that on any given day, if we can check ourselves about, being a relative, that's just profound. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for you all. I'm so proud of you all. And And it is an honor and most humble honor to have walked with you all through school, to watch you in your careers, to be able to hear from you and the way you're lifting things up. And someday as old women, we'll sit and we'll talk about these times, and I'll be a lot older than you, but but I just appreciate you all. I thank you for taking this time to bring this to our students and our community. And I just wish you all tremendous blessings in everything that you do. And I honor you always. Thank you so much.